I've been pulled towards something throughout this life with all my being, and yet also often resisted, covered it over, and ran from it. But in the end, it has always turned out to be very simple, gentle and quiet, deeply peaceful, and essentially loving. It's known in the moment we directly touch the deepest truth of who and what we are. Not as an idea or a belief, but as something real, directly known and lived in this moment. I didn't choose this path in some heroic way. Much of it was motivated by my own pain and suffering. And later it did become a fierce longing for unvarnished truth. The path revealed itself over time as I kept saying yes to what was right in front of my nose, except when I got lost in my own ego and temporarily forgot myself. And I want to say this clearly. No one wakes up because of my story. You wake up because of your own encounter with truth. When we see truth, we see the contrast with what is untrue. We see the difference between them and have the opportunity to let go of one or the other. A story can't do that for you, and all the theory in the world doesn't change much either. But your own direct experience of truth does. When something is felt, recognized, known from the inside, even briefly, that moment becomes a benchmark, a reference point. From there, one sees the contrast clearly and thus can change their mind to choose for what's true. This change of mind naturally leads to thinking differently. So you begin to see differently and thus to live differently. This is how truth sets you free. It often comes as a small shift in a small moment that reorients you just a little. But if you simply continue in the new direction you've chosen, even with its ups and downs, you're guaranteed to end up in a radically different destination, where that freedom reigns. So what greater service could we share with each other than the direct experience of real truth, or presence as it's often called? The kind that helps us see that contrast and choose the direction of freedom. Words can be helpful, but presence doesn't require even that. Much of what I'm called to do happens in silence. Sharing presence is sometimes done in that silence and stillness. And sometimes through placing a hand gently on someone's head. This is not an act of rendering service to another. It's an act of communion in which the divine here meets the divine there and sees presence is the same in both places. The divine is already divine. There is no need to fix what is already divine, to give anything or impose anything. That light touch is simply an outward metaphor for an inward experience of presence meeting presence, where what is already whole recognizes itself, not as two separate things coming together, but as oneness remembering itself. I understand that in this world, things can appear harsh or broken, but there is more to the story than what appears here. And it is possible to look past the story to an aspect of your own being beyond this dimension, beyond the story, in which nothing needs to be added or repaired, where nothing was ever missing. And often in the quiet meeting we might share, something opens, some aspect of that wholeness arises within you in a way that is accessible, acceptable by you, and meaningful in a way that makes sense for you. I am not the origin or arbiter of that. I am only ever a witness to it, just like you. And in truth, even the idea of a separate me doing this falls away in those moments. What remains is what I call healing by divine principle. And at its heart, it is simply a remembering of the deepest truth of who and what you are. of what has always been. If something in you recognizes something of this, if something in you feels quietly drawn to that stillness, to truth, to direct knowing, you are welcome to come and drink. I am not the source of these waters. I'm simply joyful to point the way because I love what they give. And as you drink, may you remember.